is Jess, and this is episode 14 of Knitting on Sweater Avenue. This is a podcast where I talk about what I've finished knitting, what I'm currently working on, and any new whips I have, as well as any new yarn I've purchased. And I think this is going to be a pretty big one. I have only one finished object, but a bunch of progress on heaps of my whips, and then a fair few new cast-ons that have got a fair bit of progress. And I think it's been about a month. So yeah, plenty to show. As I said, my name's Jess. I am based in Melbourne, Australia, and I really love to knit, to be honest, and that I feel like I have nothing else really to add to that. So first I wanted to show you my one finished object, and it is finished, but it's still a little bit damp. So once I finish showing you, I will definitely be taking this back to the blocking mats. But it is this. This is my Selene sweater by Anne Ventzel. And although it was definitely a labor of love, I'm so pleased with it. I tried it on just before. It's horrible to try on wet knitwear, but it's dry enough that it's fine. But I'm so happy with the final fit and also the color work. I think it's just stunning. It's a little bit warm to wear knitwear today, but I'll grab some pictures of me once this is actually properly dry and try and put them in. But I think it is just so nice. It's using, each of the different colors is three strands of isager, two of which are mohair. And then the dark one is a tweed and the light one is isager tvinni. I haven't quite managed to block out this sort of bit in the middle here, but I don't mind it. I feel like it kind of fits with the vibe. So yeah, that's my one finished object. I made a lot of changes / mods as I was working on it. I changed some of the last decreases to be raglan because I was trying it on and not super happy with the fit. And I've done some short rows. I do weave in my ends before I block, but I don't cut them until after I block. So they're sort of just all hanging about here. And I redid this neckline a few times, so there's a few extra ends. But I did some short rows in the neckline, so it's more of it at the back than at the front, and then I've blocked it pretty aggressively so that the front sat down more. I feel like, is there anything else to add? I don't think that's all I have on this one. I feel like I've talked about it for a fair few episodes, and I am very glad it's done, and I'm excited for a bit of cold weather so I can get into this where it's work. Yeah, I think it's lovely. I am going to go put it back on the blacking mats, and then I will be back. Okay, sweet. That is done. And now I can go on to my works in progress. This first work in progress is so close to done, it's silly. And I definitely should have been working on this today rather than my new whip, which I will show you towards the end. But this is my Storm Sweater by Petite knit. Or Storm Sweater Man, technically. I'm not very good at following patterns, I guess. But this is the Storm Sweater Man using Sandnesgarn Double Sunday and Tin Silk Mohair in their sort of dark green colour. I think it is really cute. I sized up the needle size to a 4.5 because I have knit those, the pattern recommended 4mm needles with those yarns, and I just think that's a little dense. So I wanted a looser fabric, and I didn't mind how much it would affect the size. The thing I will note is I made the extra small, and I think it's fine. I tried it on, I've worn it a little bit. So yeah, it's still a whip because I haven't done the cuff on this sleeve, but the rest of it is done. But the sleeves are massive, and I've taken 2 motifs off, and so in comparison, my mum knit a Storm Sweater Man for my dad, and I don't think she had to do that. Obviously she knit him the right size, and he's a man, but I'm a little intrigued because it does seem like that sleeve is huge. I've got a lot of extra fabric, but I wore this. So we went down the coast last weekend, and I checked the weather because, I'm trying to be a good packer, and the weather was 33 Celsius on Saturday and then 24 on Sunday. I was like, okay, that'd be fine. But what I didn't check was the 24 on Sunday was at midnight 1 a.m. from the Saturday before, and then it just got colder. So it ended up being cold and rainy, and I had taken no jumpers, no raincoat, no nothing. And so we were like out and about exploring, and I was like, well, there's only one thing for it. I will wear my sweater with like with half a sleeve. Like there's, I don't really know what else I can do. I don't want to freeze. So I did that. I had my little, luckily I have a pretty cute bag with my yarn in it. And so it was just attached to the bag, and I carried the bag. Anyway, I definitely have a picture of that because I made my partner take one because I thought it was hilarious. But it is cozy and warm, and it is giving oversized boyfriend sweater, which I like. So this is definitely so close to being a finished object. Like I've done the neckline and there's elastic in it. I've completely finished. The body's done, this sleeve is done, and I literally just need to do the ribbing on this sleeve. So hopefully I will convince myself to smash that out this afternoon, and then when the other jumper comes off the blocking mats, this can go on. Although I don't feel like it needs much blocking. You can see it's quite wide, but it sort of looks pretty even to me. So I'm sure it won't change very much. I just need to make sure that it doesn't get much bigger when I block it. Like I want a little bit more length on the sleeve, which I'm hoping will make it a bit skinnier, but it won't have a meaningful impact, I don't think. So yeah, that is this sweater. I feel like I'm talking really fast, but I don't really feel like I have much else to add on this one other than to like hold it and squish it, which is nice, except it's pretty warm right now. The sun is like streaming in from over here, and yeah, I feel like all this yarn is making me a bit warm. So yes, that is my first whip and soon to be finished object. I'm just gonna shove it into the bag. Alright, so next, this one has a bit of a story. I just need to find a few pieces of it. So this is my hacked Rhue sweater by Rebecca Clow, or the creabea, holding 2 strands of kinross 4-ply together and using a 4.5mm needle, which is bigger than the pattern recommends. So I, again, went up a needle size, but this one actually did me some quick maths and went up a needle size and then down a size or 2 to get the fit that I want, and I'm very happy with the fit. But I have stopped, and it is not attached, because what I'm doing with this is hacking it with, I believe it's the Knitting for Olive Astrid sweater, and I've talked about this at length, and then I've got a bunch of swatches, but the gist is I wanted the curved hem, and I did some swatches to test the curved hem, and they're okay, but I just wasn't happy with how, so I wanted to do it top down, and I wasn't super happy with how you need to do increases, and I thought they looked kind of holy, because the way the increases work is they don't necessarily neatly fit with the plainness. Anyway, it was a whole nightmare. So eventually I decided instead to do, I've worked out where it is. I decided instead to knit to here, which is as long as I want it to be, and then to cast on from the bottom and do the bottom ribbing. Oops, and apparently I'm halfway through a row. But this is the second one, and you start with just some plain ribbing and then you do some funky stuff. And I have hidden it inside. Well, not hidden, but I've placed it inside. So this is one of the panels. This is not good. So basically I don't have that many barber cords, and so this barber cord goes through this sleeve, through that sleeve, and then also attaches to this. So I'll just pull it out as much as I can. Come here. So basically I've gotten it to here. It's got short rows, so that's why it looks kind of funky. This is so hard to show. I definitely should not have left it attached to this here. I hold this with my chin. And then I think from here I will pick up along the edges, do a couple more short rows. This is when I join it with the other one. And then I'm going to Kitchener stitch it on to this. So for reasons, as you can probably tell, it's fallen slightly down in my list of priorities because it got kind of difficult and complicated. And for a while I just was not sure about how it was going or what I wanted to do. This obviously is a pretty light coloured yarn, so I think it'll be obvious if I do a bad job of the Kitchener stitch, but overall I am happy with how this looks, and I think it'll look better with blocking. So this is one edge, and you have this cool rib detail, which then goes, I think, pretty neatly into what will be the rest of the sweater. So yeah, that is this whip. Hasn't had as much progress recently because I have hyper-focused on a few others which are coming up. When I bring all my knitting together, it really becomes clear that I do a lot of knitting. I spend a lot of time knitting. Alright, next one. This will just be a brief mention because we're in a bit of a state of chaos. These are my yellow socks. This one is off the needle. This one is back on the needle, but I've ripped out a bunch. Basically, I got to about this point, 40 rows into the foot, and I had run out of yarn on one of the feet, and so I was using the other one for both. But I was like, that's not enough, and I didn't want to just change to the other color. So my current plan is, so I've ripped this one back almost all the way to the heel flap, and then I'm going to turn it into stripes from here down with like wider stripes of the light color, I think. And I'm hoping that I have enough in a mini to do stripes in the foot on both of them. I think I should, right? Because normally I can get the cuff, which is 20 rows, the heel flap, which is how I have done the heel flap, so disregard the cuff of both socks and the toe, and I have more yarn left over even if I do that. So I reckon I can get at least 40 rows on each sock in this. No, definitely can. So I just got to work out what my stripe is going to be. And so this one is on one long cable, and it's got lots of yarn coming off of it. And then, oops, that's not that. This one I need to rip back. I need to join the yarn, and I need to work out if I'm going to knit them 2 at a time or not, and then knitting 2 at a time. Anyway, whole nightmare. So when I got to a point, I just like got fed up and yeeted these ones off the needle and cast on another sock. I've only done this much progress, and it is going to be the same theory, and I think I'm going to have, I have a needle, my other needle stuck in, but this is, oh yeah, the yarns, sorry. I'll talk about these yarns and then the other yarns. These are both Olivia and Oliver fibers. This is elderflower, and I think this is willow, but this was the like sock pair for, there was a pink sock set that I had, but I wanted it for this one instead. But I think I'm going to have a similar problem because this is the second pair of socks I've knit with this. So I'm just hoping that I get somewhere with this, which is not a disaster, but we'll see. Back on these ones, the main color is Paisley Knits Best Gal Pals. This is Buttercorn from Sally Ridgeway Designs, and a peacock heel flap. I don't remember what it's called, but it looks groovy. And then this was just some random scrap from knitting my dad a pair of socks. So yeah, socks are currently in my naughty basket. And I've started riding to work, which means I don't have as much time to knit my socks. So they haven't had a lot of love. And then the last whip that you have seen that's had any progress is my Askell shawl. And I have actually done all 4 of my parallel line, or all 3 of my parallel lines. And so now I just keep going, and then I'm going to turn relatively soon, I think. So this is the Askell shawl by a designer that I've forgotten the name of. I don't know their name. I'll pop it in. And it's using 2 strands held together, one of which is a Morrison Sons Empire 4-ply, and the other is Zakami Yarns Suri alpaca in a colour I can't remember either. All of the information, all of the relevant information, will be in the... Do you ever just like forget how to think? Will be in the description box. And this is a gift for my grandmother. So this is my like sort of first ever proper shawl, and I think it looks really cute, and I've really enjoyed the small amounts of time that I have spent working on this. But it is incredibly soft, so I think she will like it once I finally get onto it. And then finally, I have 2 new cast-ons. I'm going to start with the one which is nearly finished, which is a bit insane. I said we went down the coast last weekend, and I cast this on the way down on Friday night, and I have just powered through it. This is, I think it's so cute. So this is the Laura Penrose hot water bottle cover, Maxine hot water bottle cover. I've gone a little bit rogue in many ways. So you do increases down the bottom. I did some extra increases because I think that with the and this is using mostly Sandnesgarn Double Sunday with some Sandnesgarn Sunday. This is my little disaster area, and this is for me. I've knit 2 others of these before now. One for that same grandmother and one for my sister. But I have been intending to knit myself one for ages, and I finally got the chance. So yeah, I did it so that I had 1 extra motif, and then I shifted the motifs across because I was a bit worried about the placement, given that I had added, I don't know, I just was a bit worried. And so then I've also made a few minor changes, like this middle one here is not quite meant to look like that. I've also got the wrong number of colours, so I think I've used 7 or 8 contrast colours, and then plus the white. And so I've just completely went rogue. But I think it's really cute. I think some part like this looks a little dark / a little Christmassy. I'm trying to get the light on that one properly. It's like, it ended up being red and green. The green, the dark green, which appears in here as well, is actually from my storm sweater. And I don't have a spare ball, so I was knitting from it, and it was attached. Anyway, it was slightly rogue choice, but that's alright. It was, again, I was with some friends, they thought it was hilarious that I'm sort of carting 2 projects around. And I'm nearly done. So I have done all the motifs, and now I am just doing the little bit at the top. I only just like moved on to that just today. But I think it's really cute, and I think I'll enjoy using it. The other thing I have done is done some calculations for my 4th one, because I have a mini hot water bottle, but it's not the size of her mini one, so I've had to just like make it up. But I've seen some other hot water bottles on market in terms of like design wise, and so I think I'm just gonna YOLO it with the stitch count that I have / want and the size of my hot water bottle to sort of get another one. And I think that one will be like, this one looks like sort of quilt stars, and that one will be more geometric. But I have so enjoyed working on this. I haven't done colour work in a little while. Like my Selene sweater, like once you finish the yoke, you're obviously not doing colour work anymore. And so I'm keen. I've got a few other colour work projects, I think, coming up. And so this was definitely, I'm confident I want to keep them in the list, work on them soon. So yeah, I'm sure this will be a finished object in the next episode. Not that I need it in this weather, but it's so nice to have a little hot water bottle. And I think it's just like a bougie looking hot water bottle is so great. And I bought a new hot water bottle recently because I ended up on a website talking about how they cause a lot of injuries and you need to replace them quite frequently. And I had never replaced it. And so yeah. So that's that. And then I have one more work in progress. This is new yarn since I last filmed, which is hilarious because I bought this yarn and immediately cast on, and I've been going absolutely gangbusters. So here's the yarn. Oh, I feel like the lighting's gone a bit weird. Hopefully it's okay. This is the yarn. This is pure gynt in a sort of grey speckled colour. And I thought that the speckles were like grey and sort of like a light brown, but they're actually purple and yellow. I don't know if you can see that, they're like yellow and purple. Anyway, when it actually came, I was a bit worried, but it is okay. I think it looks I think it's totally fine in the final object. And this is, oh yes, towards the end of this episode is just a love letter to Laura Penrose. This is the Midland cardigan. And I am working on the like opposite side, and I've flown through this. I've nearly finished the body. So this is a garter stitch sideways construction cardigan that I cast on, well, it's been a month since I filmed, so I think I cast it on like probably the week after I filmed. And then I went absolutely mental on it. And then there's been a few other things that have come up in between, but I think this will be coming back into the roster. I'm knitting it on, what size are these needles? I presume the size of the pattern, 4.5. Got a lot of 4.5 projects here. 4.5mm needles with Peer Gynt. I believe I'm knitting the second size, and I've made no changes so far except for the cast on edge down the second one, but I'm not sure I'm happy with it. So I'm gonna see how it goes, and I might end up cutting off my cast on and turning it into a cast off, because if you see, like, it sort of looks like it's pull. How do I hold it so that you can see? It's sort of like if I pull it, it's long enough, but I don't want it to like it sort of curves. So I think it might be too tight, even though I tried to do it looser. Anyway, so I ended up doing I wanted it to look the same as my cast off, so I just did a knit cast on, but it ended up being pretty tight. So I'll have to see how that goes, and I think that's part of the reason that I sort of stopped working on it, because I hit it felt like a roadblock. But I've tried this on, like, well, as much as you can try on a cardigan that goes side to side. But I do like, oh yeah, I can grab that piece, that's right. Where is it? Nope, I found the wrong end. Here it is. I can take this guy, bring him over. And then, there we go. I am very happy with the fit. I was a little bit worried about the size of this armhole, but I think it's okay. Like, I've got a fair bit of space under there. And then I just like, even just now, it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall off the shoulder, which is a classic cardigan problem. And as soon as this pattern was released, I knew. I didn't really want, when it initially came out and I saw the like test call, I didn't want to be part of the test call because I wasn't convinced yet, but now I'm convinced. But do you see what I mean about this? Like, it feels like this is a bit tight, whereas this one just like sits really neatly here. Anyway, so that is my last work in progress. And then I have a few acquisitions, but I completely forgot to grab them. So let me grab them, 1 second. All right, acquired. So not last weekend, but a few weekends ago, up to Canberra, which is where my parents live, partly to visit my parents and also to go to the Australian Yarn Show, which was on in Canberra, 2-3 weeks ago, and it was so fun. Forced is a strong word, but I took my partner with me and my mum and one of her friends, and we just wandered around, checked it out, had a general look around. It was a little bit, it was a bit overwhelming in terms of just like, I do most of my yarn shopping online, partly because when you go into a yarn shop, it's just sort of like, but I picked up mostly stitch markers. So I got this set of mushrooms, which I think is just like iconic. There's 2 of them there. Oh, focus. But I picked up just one yarn, which is this Daffodil Road self-striping sock in the colour Boysenberry Swirl, and I am ready to cast this on. I might just forego all the current socks I have because they're all annoying me, and just do a nice self-striping sock, because I feel like maybe that would be good for just me to do my like yeah, just to get me through this little sock funk, and then I can go back to the socks that are all hard and annoying. But while we were in Canberra, one of the things we could do is visit this yarn store that has recently moved to being closer to my parents' house. And therefore, and part of this is I have been chatting to my partner and I'm going to knit him another sweater. I feel like he got slightly burned the last time I knit him a sweater. I knit him the Moby sweater by Petite knit, and it's really cute, but for whatever reason, I used this blue pear gynt, and for whatever reason, it has just, this is the sheepiest yarn I've ever smelled. Oh, and he's just coming home, so I will pause and come back 1 second. Okay, I don't remember specifically where I was, but the gist is, it's this blue pear gynt, and it smells so sheepy, and I've tried to block it twice, and I think I need to just like wash it with like some dishwashing detergent or something to get rid of the smell, but I have not succeeded. And so when I was like, I want to knit you another jumper, but he was like, I want to smell the yarn before you start. So I thought that's fair enough. And I've also really wanted to try Cascade 220, doesn't smell bad at all, for him, or just in general. And so I thought this is a good option because he buys the yarn if I'm knitting him the jumper. And so this is like a good, more affordable option. And also, you know, it's got a very good color range and it exists in this shop that we can go to in Canberra. So he picked this lovely sort of charcoaly grey colour, and so I am going to knit him the Petite knit zipper sweater. I gave him many options of jumpers I could knit him from different designers, but this is the one he picked, so this is the one I'll do, because that's my main thing. Like, well, I like Petite knit, and I do think she gets a bad rap, kind of uncalled for, and I think she's got some classic designs, and he liked this one. So yeah, got a bunch of balls of that, and while we were there, oh no, I did get this one at the yarn show. I forgot about that. Sorry, just like, this is another one I got at the yarn show, and it is this cotton hempen modal yarn in like a chocolatey brown color, and I got some of this to knit. I think I'm going to knit the Soul Top by Mochi Knits. It feels cottony, so I think that like a sort of loosely, like it's a little tie top, it's pretty cute. I intended to cast this on last weekend, but I didn't get to it, so that's that one. And then actually at the same store as this, I picked up this, which is another yarn I've never tried before, also smells fine, and is the Sandnesgarn the Sandnesgarn Coast in like this sort of goldy colour. And this is a lamb's wool cotton yarn, and it is so soft. So I think I'm going to wait for the new tea pattern by the creabea to come out, which is the Lusk tea. I think it only just went into testing, so whenever that comes out in, 3-4 months, then I would love to knit that with this yarn. But I think I will probably do a 4-ply version and hold this double, I think, because this is 350 meters in 50 grams, so that's pretty fine. So yeah, I think I would probably hold a double as a 4-ply. So yeah, those are my acquisitions. I feel like that's the most yarn I've bought in a fair while, even though I didn't technically buy this. It sort of feels like I did. But it's set me up for some pretty nice projects coming up, and I am keen to get some of them started. Also, it's nice to get a few projects into the finished pile and just make a little bit of progress on a few others. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you're knitting, if that's what you like to do while watching this, or just pottering around, which is what I often do when I put on these sort of knitting podcast videos. But yeah, if you're knitting something, let me know what you've been working on, and I hope that you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.